Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today I'm going to talk about how you can make a little bit of money from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm not talking like in a sense to where you can do it as a full-time job. You would basically have to be sponsored by Konami or have a full-time YouTubing thing going on in order for you to make enough money for you to have that as like a sort of career option. And the chances of that would be pretty low. You would have to be dedicated to the game for many years and have to really prove yourself as a player, probably in multiple tournaments, and also be really, really consistent with uploads if you're on the YouTube side of things, blah, 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 blah. But I'm talking about just on the micro level. Like, the game can get a little bit expensive. Like, you see some of these more competitive decks, and they have price tags that could range anywhere from like $300 to $700. And there were even the top decks at many points during the course of Konami's history, had decks lists that could cost over $1,000. And for me, my competitive deck actually costs somewhere probably between $250 and $350. Yeah, just all depending on where you get the cards from. And I've always played kind of budget. I'm not playing anything like Phantasma, anything like that, but blah, 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 blah. Anyway, there are small ways that you can actually get a little bit of return by having fun. All right, so the first great way you can actually make a little bit of gains off of Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of just pay for your own way to play in the format is that you can become a judge. Now, you have to combine this with becoming a judge and going to your locals. If you go to your locals, a lot of times you get these OTS packs. And recently, the OTS packs have been really, really stellar. And being a judge can make you money in one of two ways. Either A, you can judge official events in which you get paid about $10 an hour, but you also get packs for judging those events. So if you pull good cards there, that can be just extra free pluses. Or if you're on your local scene, a lot of shops will reward you at least one extra pack for judging that locals. You'll get one for playing and one for entering the locals. So that doubles your chance of pulling something like an ultimate rare. Now, thing is, I've actually, in about the year to year and a half I've went to my local scene, I've pulled probably somewhere between 10 and 15 ultis. And while that really adds up over time, ultis are anywhere from $30 to like $80. So if you take the average price there, I probably sold one at each $45 each. And over time, that adds up to like somewhere between I've made hundreds of dollars actually selling my ultis online. And so I've actually probably netted a little bit of a profit by just pulling those and selling even the supers. The supers can be like $5 sometimes, and you get a lot of them. And a lot of people just leave them on the table. So if you pick them up and you just like sell 4 supers in a weekend, you're making $20 for basically no reason. So that's a really good way to make your money back, or at least for me, it paid for my competitive deck. So Yu-Gi-Oh isn't just like a money hole if you treat it right. The thing is, like, I don't think you should care that much about playing the top meta strategies each and every format because, like, A, it gets stale, and B, I don't think having powerful decks really defines you as necessarily a good or bad player. It's a combination of things. I feel like there's like the really great players are the ones that can do stuff like take pure scraps and go get second place at a regional, which is something we've seen very recently. Those are what good players do. They know how to rework builds, and they just don't always net deck. So I feel like that's very important. But distracting from the point, this is a really good way you can net a little bit of profit here. And also, like, a lot of players, one thing you want to be aware of is the players at the local or maybe at the regional setting who might screw you over when it comes to card trading. Now, if you go, I'm not endorsing anybody here. If I am, it's by accident. But like, if you go on like TCG Player or something like that, you can instantly find what the cards are going for, what their market value is. So don't let someone trade a $5 card for your $10 card. That's gonna instantly get you negative. But like these are the primary two ways to where you can get kind of a return on your investment in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think they're the best ways. In my opinion, investing in individual sets, well, a lot of times you'll hear players like Simo say, yeah, buy the singles. Well, that's because on average, if you just buy sets of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and you try to go plus on them, on average, you'll just lose money. I mean, that's just kind of the way the system is designed. You're going to get a whole lot of worthless cards and maybe like one not worthless card that's in the last set, Masquerena is a $30 card. Well, the set costs anywhere between $60 and $80 depending on where you get it, you're going to go hard negative on that, and you just have to get super lucky to get a prismatic. The odds just really aren't in your favor. It's like playing the lottery, but statistically speaking, playing the lottery is just going to lose you money. So I wouldn't recommend buying sets. As far as investments, investment is another way you can make money. If you see a card that my favorite example here is Into the Void. Into the Void has very few printings, and the thing about Into the Void is, like, depending on the format, sometimes it just gets really good. And when a card has very few printings, and it has that potential, it'll almost always go up in value. And my one other example right now is, well, like Ash Blossom. Right now, Ash Blossom is played in almost every competitive deck. It's honestly a little bit annoying, but when the reprints came out, that artwork was just at like $350. But now, because every deck in the format is now playing it as opposed to like half the decks, the demand went up, and now that artwork is like $6. And plus, I think people really like that artwork because, you know, we're Yu-Gi-Oh perverts and everything. But those prices will almost always go up in a straight line every time. And there's also the weird cards like Saravis. Saravis was at one point like a $5 card, and just because it didn't get printings, well, now it's a $10 card. If you make little investments like that those will add up over time. And the last point I want to make here is, like, when it comes to investing, the smartest thing to do is it can be risky because Konami doesn't always announce their reprints. But for example, Infinite Impermanence was $22 in the off season in this past year. Now Impermanence has gone up and fluctuated between like $45 and $55 when the season came back on, because that's when all the cards were in demand. Everybody sells off their cards in the off season, then buys them again when the season starts up again. So if you buy all these cards, in the off season, well, then you can just flip them over for a profit. And you have to make sure they're a staple that's probably definitely going to be good in the upcoming format. And I think Impermanence is one of those cards, even though it's just a really big shame that Konami short prints the shit out of that card. But it's one of those cards that's going to be good in probably every single format from here on out. And eventually they're just going to reprint it so that it's actually available to people, and then Effect Veiler will no longer be a thing. But that's neither, yeah. That's pretty much an inevitability. So hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. Again, there are ways to be smart about your investments, and you can make a little bit of money, or at least side money, with this game if you have at least something to start out with, or if you just have enough money to just like participate in your local tournament. Because taking the judge exam is free, and honestly, I feel like with a little bit of time, it's not really that hard for most people. That's all I got for today, guys. Peace.